all about watching the plays, earning the living in the entertainment places, drug addicted, gambling. All of these will destine themselves in the ocean. Earning the living with sound, smell, taste, touches, and shapes. Using these things to earn the living, they will be destined at the bottom of the ocean, especially all kinds of drug addictive, gambling, and entertainment, including those actors and actresses. They are destined at the bottom of the oceans. Those who do merits, they will just directly fall into these realms at the bottom of the ocean after death. Use might from might itself with everything. This will be helping through cutting. Use uninvolved within the involvement itself. This will help through unwinding and releasing. No grasping for the non-grasping itself as well, helping through the purification of the emptiness. Looking or seeing, use simultaneously the essence of uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself. That's all. There is no complication at all. Blessing beings is not complicated at all. Helping through unwinding and releasing is not difficult at all. Using looking, seeing, and knowing as a medium with the conclusion of the purification. Uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself simultaneously with looking, seeing, and knowing. No grasping for the non-grasping itself simultaneously with eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Looking, seeing, and knowing. There is no complications at all. These are the reminders that liberating in itself. When using with all things, it turns into the great compassion of liberation. That is helping through releasing. This is the liberation of the great compassion. Simultaneously with looking, seeing, and knowing, listening, hearing. Don't be afraid of samsara or all things. How can you bless them? Don't separate from all things. That's not the way. To bless samsara, there cannot be any separation from them. Uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself simultaneously. This will be the great compassion. This is not to separate the liberation from anything. Let's proceed simultaneously all together. May all groups of beings, all the living life that destine oneself within the woeful realms, all the gambling, entertainments, drug addiction, all the sound, smell, taste, touches, and shapes, all the earning, the living at night, entertainments, infatuations through Sound, smell, taste, touches, and shapes through earning the living. May everything be ahosi, ahosi, ahosi. Another kind is using authoritative power, grandeur within the country, earning the living by threatening others. Another type using black magic in earning the living, in living the life, hurting and harming others. They are destined under the bottom of the ocean. Therefore, may everything be ahosi. Mind from mind itself simultaneously. This is helping through cutting within itself. There is the mighty force in helping through cutting already. Don't reject all things. Uninvolved within the uninvolvement itself, mind from mind itself altogether simultaneously. Use these reminders. Don't reject anything. To learn and refine how to use the great compassion. It cannot be rejecting samsara. Don't separate nibbana from all beings or from samsara. Don't separate liberation or detachment from anything. Detachment doesn't grasp for itself. Not attached to the non-attachment itself simultaneously with everything. Let's proceed simultaneously altogether with this essence. This will be sharing the great compassion all the same. If the great compassion all the same in everyone, samsara will turn into the Buddha land immediately. If the great compassion is shared simultaneously all the same in the samsara, samsara will turn into the Buddha land immediately. To be obsessed to separate nibbana from all beings from samsara is always blocking like that. Reminders simultaneously. Otherwise, there is just looking, seeing, and knowing only. There is no purification with that. Otherwise, knowing in a way that is indifference alone, there is no purification. Just perceiving, relating, but there is no purification yet. Reminders purify themselves must be given simultaneously. Use the reminders that purify themselves simultaneously. Don't let there be only eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind alone. That's not helpful at all.
มันก็เป็นกรรมเป็นวิบากของมันเหมือนกันน่ะ
They are just karma and karmic difficulties within themselves as well. All these eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind.
ไม่เอาตัวไม่เอา
No grasping for the non-grasping itself simultaneously. Use this reminder diligently.
ขยันหน่อย
To be with just looking, seeing, and knowing, there is just an exhaustion because receiving only karma and karmic difficulties through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. There are Vedana within themselves, and involved within the involvement itself simultaneously. No grasping for the non-grasping itself more often simultaneously. No grasping will happen on its own. When the divine eyes are upon him, you see that what you have used mind for mind itself together with all things, there will be the anupap of the brightness. Through the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, you will realize by yourself. When there is no involvement with knowing, seeing, by this purification of the anupap, the clairvoyance of the eyes and ears will open by itself. From no grasping for the non-grasping itself completely with everything, all the crossed eyes and ears will become divine by themselves. This is not to practice for achievement with this clairvoyance. It will happen because of the purification that lighten up from the grossness by itself. When Luang Po use the palms, they see the brightness from the palms. It is real. It's real, according to what you see. When Luang Po kick the wood also brightening out. Whenever Luang Po kicks someone, the karmic difficulties will be dispersed. Can use also the palms to do that. But Luang Po doesn't do that because they will copy Luang Po, imitating in the wrong way. If they are dark and using this kind of thing, it will be worse. Whatever Luang Po touch, it will be brightening. This is from mind itself, no grasping for the non-grasping itself. This is not in the form of using the mind to watch all things. This is the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, not the mind. This is the normal things. When Luang Po raise up the palms towards the Mara, towards the devils, they just turn away.
เนี่ยถ้ามันแขกหัวใครก็บางทีนะ
And whenever หลวงพ่อ
ความคิดหา
hit
เหวอะไร
his hand to someone's head,
กระจาย
all those kind of restless mind will be dispersed immediately.
แต่ไม่ทำ
But หลวงพ่อ doesn't do that.
ถ้ามันไม่ใช่วิกฤตจริงๆ
When it's not so critical, หลวงพ่อ will not use this kind of way for anyone unless it's just too many times of adding on by the Mara's minds, especially for those who have great blessed fortune. หลวงพ่อ could use that way
คือตัวเองนี่กระจายที่ไม่ได้นะ
because oneself cannot help oneself to disperse from one's own minds. Then one have to depend on หลวงพ่อ's help.
ผีเข้าผีออก
Sometimes added on by Maras in and out,
ตัดตัวตัดเองไม่ได้
unable to cut through the cutting itself, unable to might from might itself, lazy to might from might itself. Therefore, there is no brightness to help the Mara, letting the Mara to overpower one's own body and mind, on and on, in and out. Then in this way, maybe หลวงพ่อ can help with this way to help release from the delusive attachment completely. It's not cannot be used the normal way. This is helping.
แต่ใครจะมาขอให้เขก
But if anyone asking หลวงพ่อ to hit the head, หลวงพ่อ would not do
อยาก
that.
ได้ก็ยิ่งไม่ได้
The more you ask for, the more you won't get.
เกี่ยวกับสนองความอยาก
It has nothing to feed someone's desire. Normally, หลวงพ่อ already share the blessing for everyone through the purification of the extinction and emptiness.
ความสว่างของท่านเนี่ย
The brightness that comes from หลวงพ่อ whenever หลวงพ่อ lions roar, all the intangible beings could just feel too much brightness through the eyes of them.
หลบเลยเหมือนหน้า
They will turn away.
จากไหม้ตัวไหม้
This is from
ไม่
might,
เอาตัวไม่เอา
might from might itself, no grasping from the non-grasping itself.
มันสามารถเลื่อนภูมินรก
This
ได้
could
ยกขึ้นยกขึ้น
uplift the hell realms upper, lighten up karma
ตัวภูมิที่อยู่ใต้
more and more, lighten up. Those who are the realms under the water will just
ออกจากกรรม
upgraded,
ออกจากวิบาก
releasing from their karma that has been sticky.
ที่ขยับไม่ได้
Those who are unable to move,
ให้ไปขยับได้
whenever they receive from หลวงพ่อ
แรงไปทันที
Anuprab, they will have energy right away to move about, to enable to move about.
เผยมันต้องให้มันรู้เอง
This cannot be
ไม่ใช่
revealed.
สิ่งที่จะไปโฆษณา
It's not something to be advertised
เห็นตามมันไม่
for those who are deaf and blind to see. It has to
รับ
happen,
รู้เอง
realized and acknowledged by
เดี๋ยว
themselves.
พอสรุปตามท่านไปเรื่อยๆมันก็
Once they can conclude accordingly, the clairvoyance will happen and open naturally, especially when the technology will be demolished by the disasters. All the programs of technologies are demolished. Everything will be opened naturally. All the phones will not be used anymore.
มันก็บริสุทธิ์ขึ้นเองเลย
Purity will happen on its own. Otherwise, all these technologies will just block
มันทำให้ตาอยาก
the clairvoyance. It could create grossness for the eyes and ears, on and on. At times, the mind will be used without telephone. It will be more telepathy.
เดี๋ยวมันจะเข้าสู่ยุคนั้นนะ
Will enter sooner
มันจะเข้าสู่ยุคนั้น
to this era. After disasters, no more usage of the iPhone, of the phones, because this is so gross.
เดรัจฉานรู้เรื่องนี่นั่นโน่นเสยกันได้
Without these things, we could use the mind to
แต่อย่าไป
communicate with the
เอา
animals.
นี่มันจะกลายเป็นหลง
But to practice
ได้มันรู้
for
เอง
something,
ไม่ใช่การหลงรู้
to obtain something, it's gonna be delusive. It's gonna be true knowing.
ใช้ความอยากไม่ได้เพราะใช้ความอยาก
Therefore, it's impossible to use desire because it's gross.
จะไปฝึกเอาทั้งหลาย มันหลงทั้งนั้น
All those practice for attainments
อรหันต์ยุค
is a
เก่าๆ
delusion.
ก่อนก็เหมือนกันฟังแล้วจบ
The arahants in the past, they listen and ending accordingly. They don't practice for attainment.
ฟังแล้วจบตามจบ
They listen and ending accordingly. Therefore, clairvoyance happen to the eyes and ears naturally.
ที่วาสนาฤทธิ์เดชต่างๆมันก็
All the great blessed fortune and supernatural power will happen on its own
แล้วก็เป็นไปแบบไม่หลงด้วย
without delusions
แต่
either.
ที่เริ่มต้นในการฝึกเอานี่
But
คือ
when
ตั้งแต่เริ่ม
beginning to practice for attainment is a delusion since starting. Whether they gain or not is a delusion, and there's a lot of pitfalls. The more knowing, the more suffering there will be, because knowing is with delusion in itself.
ที่มันรู้แบบหลงรู้ก็เพราะมันเริ่มต้นด้วยความอยาก
Deludedly knowing begins with the urge to know, wanting to know.
เขาอยากรู้มันก็ยึดรู้
Therefore, it's fixated to
เรีย
knowing.
กว่าหลงรู้
That's why it's called deluded
ดังนั้น
knowing.
เวลาจะรู้เวลาไม่รู้ก็ทุ่มหมด
Whether there is knowing or not, suffering is always there.
น้อยทุกน้อย
The more knowing, the more suffering. The less knowing, the less suffering. When it starts with the urge to know, it's gonna be like that.
ดังนั้นมันไม่เกี่ยวกับความอยาก
Therefore, it has nothing to do with
จึงให้
the
ไม่เกี่ยว
urge
กับไม่เกี่ยวเองนะ
or the desires.
ไม่เกี่ยวเองไป
Everything is uninvolved within the involvement itself altogether simultaneously. There will be no delusion or delusive attachment overpowering the knowing. Then it will become clairvoyance naturally.
ยุคหลังไปฝึกเอามันเลยหลงหมดเลย
The recent generation, they practice for attainment, therefore it's just a delusion.
ยิ่งรู้เยอะก็ลำบาก
The more knowing, the more receiving of karma and karmic difficulties, receiving without purification. The monk always see the brightness from Luang Por's hands. It's normal.
ดังนั้นเขาจะพยายามให้ท่านยกฝ่ามือ
That's why they always want Luang Por
เวลานั่งรถมา
to raise the hands for them, especially when they are on the road, the spirits on the road, waiting for Luang Por on the way.
แล้วเวียดนามมาโชคดีเยอะดิ
Vietnam's
ท่านจับหัว
Vietnamese are very
ปกติท่านจะไม่ทำ
lucky
คนไทยก็เหมือนกัน
to be touched on the head by Luang Por's hands.
โชคดีแบบไม่รู้เรื่องเลย
They are so unrealized that they are
โช
fortunate
คดีแบบงง
in the way that they don't know anything about
ปิ
it.
ติขึ้นมา
Some of them are content.
บางคนก็รับรู้ได้ผู้มีอธิปไตย
Some of those great blessed fortune could acknowledge what happens by being touched over the head
ตั้งใจ
from Luang Por,
ให้โดยตรง
because this is by the intentions of Luang Por to give in this way.
ก็เห็นว่านอบน้อม
Because Luang Por saw that
ไม่ถือเนื้อถือตัว
they are not
ไม่ถือมานะ
having any ego. They are worth to receive such a thing from Luang Por.
มีมานะมีความ
But those who are ego and arrogant, fixated to this and that, right and wrong, yes and no, they cannot receive Luang Por's
ไม่ไปยุ่งครับ
baramat, perfection. Luang Por will not
ใช้วิธีการ
involve with
ไม่
them.
รู้ตัว
Luang Por used the way of blessing without them realize, purify without realizing.